our bargain hunters, our sales, who's dead cheap that you got to get into your lineups. I mean, Gore at 4,400. Is there anything sexy about Gore? Never. And it's like in a tournament, you're like, I don't want Gore. He's only going to, what's his ceiling? 15 points? But if you look at 4 times 4, like if he gets to 16, 17 points, that's that 4 times your price range that you're looking for. It saves you a ton of cash. It's a pretty lock for at least 12. Like he's going to see 18 touches, maybe to even 20. He's getting the Raiders, which is a bottom 5 matchup. I like Gore. I like Gore a lot at 4,400. As gross as he is, I mean, yeah, Cam Akers $100 more. He has more upside, sure. But and I said carry on at 4,400. Should Swift sit? Yeah, maybe. I think Gore's the best of these. It's an ugly, ugly bargain running back crew this week. Gore being really the only one I'm looking at. There's none of those like last week. There's tons of those 4K backups. Like, which one do we go is the option? Not this week. There's nothing to really worry about. If you're going cheap at running back, it's Gore. I will preface all this by saying I'm going to be going cheap at tight end. There's too many tight ends I like that are cheap. There is one receiver I love, and that's Pittman at 3,900. I think is a great play, particularly if the Raiders keep this competitive and put up their points early, and Pittman just gets the chuck treatment. He hasn't been under like 12 points in, I think, 3 straight weeks. So like the floor is decent enough for 3,900, like 3 times it just on what he's been doing. But what if he catches that bomb touchdown, gets to 20 at 3,900? Very, very realistic possibility of it. So I love Pittman. Obviously under 5K, I mean, 4,900, Michael Pittman. Saw 9 targets last week, despite doing very minimal with them. Before that, he had back-to-back blow-ups. I think it's another back-to-back blow-up, although Hilton, way low owned, 3%, 4,300, so you save 600. You get the lower owned, and he historically just batters the Texans there. So I could see Hilton ended up being a nice pivot away from a chalky or Pittman. Both guys I wanted to highlight. And then Renfro had 7 catches on 7 targets last week, like PPR-wise, obviously worth tossing out. He's not going to be the one on this list I go to, but it's, again, just like running back, an ugly list. The only one I really find myself really putting the lamps off in is Pittman. And one of those Colts guys does sometimes find their way in there as well. But this is where I'm saving my money. That's tight end. I mean, Tunyon at 3,700 is a no-brainer against Philly, giving up the 6th most points to tight ends. Smash him on in there. I love the double stack with him, Adams, Rodgers. He saves you that money, so you can do that. Great play. But now Firkser's emerged, or Firkser, or however the fuck you pronounce this dude's name, from Harvard. When he plays, he produces. We talked about it at the top. No Jonnu Smith, 2nd or 3rd easiest matchup for tight ends. And I think this game could end up getting, we saw, who was it? The Cowboys and Browns go crazy. That could be this one this week too. So I love Firkser. The matchup, the last time he was out, he had 22% target share from Tannehill. When he plays, he gets the usage. He gets the looks. He's smooth. He's big body in the red zone too. I love him as a streamer. 2,500 is such a cheap, great way to save cash. And I think has a nice 10-point floor, honestly. And if he does 10, that's already 4 times. Imagine if he finds the end zone, gets to 16 to 18, like bam, monster. And then last but not least, Kyle Rudolph at 3,400. I love him too. Irv Smith's been ruled out at this point. And last time out, he had 78% of the snaps, 8 targets, 7 catches, 68 yards, and just missed breaking for a touchdown. Even on just 7 catches, 68 yards, he got the flame because of how 13 points at 3,400 is a great play. So I think in a matchup against the Jaguars, breaking news, they blow. And the 4th most points to tight ends. They've given up touchdowns in the last to tight ends. I think Rudolph is also a great play. So lots of good cheap tight ends. I hate ever double stacking tight end like flex it and tight end spots. But with the values they are this week, there's very, a great narrative. I like Pittman at 3,900, so I find myself going him more often in the flex. But I also have a sick feeling in my gut. I might regret not having like a Firkser Tunyon. I do have a Firkser Tunyon in one, but that should maybe be my main one, or Rudolph in there as well. This could be a week that it actually makes sense because of how cheap these tight ends are that have really good narratives to minimum 10, and 20 points is not without the range of any of these guys' possibilities. That could go crazy for you if you go double tight end. It has not been a common winning strategy, but just worth chucking out there. And last but not least for bargains, Trubisky at 5,400 put up 21 points against a tough Packers secondary. looked god-awful doing it. Now you give him a cake matchup against Detroit. He's had plenty of 3-touchdown days. I think it's like 3 of his last 5 against Detroit have had multiple touchdowns. I think Trubisky at 5,400, if you're not paying up for Rodgers, could make a ton of sense. He's going to be pretty chalky because of that too. That's why I pivot to like the middle ground of Tannehill. Nobody really wants to go the middle ground. I'm gonna go all in on that. But Goff at 5,800 under 6K. As I said, that game could go to 60 points. Even though the over-under is 48, I could see that one taken off. And then Glennon, 4,800. If you really want to save at quarterback, he had 18 last week. He does 18 at 4,800. Bam, he's paid it off for you already, right? And what if he hits 25? Because that game has the second highest over-under of the week right now, 51. I mean, what if that one just goes crazy? What if he can keep it competitive against that horrible Minnesota secondary? I doubt it, but 4,800, it might be worth like a one flyer lineup to have a Glennon Chark stack or something crazy like that. Cole. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.